Welcome to the session on Internet and Applications. The Internet is a massive network of networks, or rather a networking infrastructure. It connects millions of computers together globally, forming a network in which any computer can communicate with any other computer as long as they are both connected to the Internet. Unlike online services, which are centrally controlled, the Internet is decentralized by design. Each Internet computer, called a host, is independent. Its operators can choose which Internet services to use and which local services to make available to the global Internet community. Remarkably, this anarchy by design works exceedingly well. No one actually owns the Internet, and no single person or organization controls the Internet in its entirety. The Internet is more of a concept rather than an actual tangible entity, and it relies on a physical infrastructure that connects networks to other networks. The Internet has greatly changed the way people use computers and communicate today. Many Internet terms have become part of people's everyday language, and email has added a whole new means through which people can communicate. The Internet is a worldwide collection of networked computers which are able to exchange information with one another very quickly. The Internet, in simple terms, is a network of the interlinked computer networking worldwide, which is accessible to the general public. Internet is a huge network of several different interlinked networks relating to business, government, academics, and even smaller domestic networks. These networks enable the Internet to be used for various important functions, which include several means of communications like the file transfer, online chat, sharing of the documents, etc. History of Internet. The Internet was the first result of some visionary thinking by people in the early 1960s, which saw great potential value in allowing computers to share information on research and development in scientific and military fields. J.C.R. Licklider of MIT first proposed a global network of computers in 1962 and moved over to the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, that's DARPA, in late 1962 to head the work to develop it. Leonard Kleinrock of MIT and later UCLA developed the theory of packet switching, which was to form the basis of Internet connections. Lawrence Roberts of MIT connected a Massachusetts computer with a California computer in 1965 over dial-up telephone lines. It showed the feasibility of wide area networking, but also showed that the telephone line circuit switching was inadequate, and hence Kellogg's packet switching theory was confirmed. Roberts moved over to DARPA in 1966 and developed his plan for ARPANET. The Internet, then known as ARPANET, was brought online in 1969 under a contract led by the Advanced Research Project Agency, which initially connected 4 major computers at universities in the southwestern US: UCLA, Stanford Research Institute, UCSB, and the University of Utah. By 1971, many more new nodes were added to this network. The early Internet was used by computer experts, engineers, scientists, and librarians. Email was adapted for ARPANET by Ray Tomlinson of BBN in 1972. He picked the @ symbol to link the username and address. The ARPANET computers were switched over to TCP/IP in 1983. In 1986, the National Science Foundation funded NSFNet as a cross-country 56 kbps backbone for the Internet. They maintained their sponsorship for nearly a decade, setting rules for its non-commercial government and research uses. By 1987, there were nearly 30,000 hosts on the Internet. The original ARPANET protocol had been limited to 1000 hosts, but the adoption of the TCP/IP standard made large number of hosts possible. In 1989, another significant event took place in making the nets easier to use. Tim Berners-Lee and others at the European Laboratory of Particle Physics proposed a new protocol for information distribution. This protocol, which became the World Wide Web in 1991, was based on hypertext, a system of embedding links in text to link to other text. Since the internet was initially funded by the government, it was originally limited to research, education, and government uses. Commercial uses were prohibited unless they directly served the goals of research and education. This policy continued until the early 90s, when independent commercial networks began to grow. It then became possible to route traffic across the country from one commercial site to another without passing through the government-funded NSFNet internet backbone. 1990 brought about the first commercial dial-up internet provider. Same year, ARPANET ceased to exist. 1995 is often considered the first year the web became commercialized. Since then, the internet has undergone several technological evolutions that made it easily accessible from any part of the world. Nowadays, we can use internet for a variety of purposes. Internet as a global network. The internet has become one of the most loved and used sources of information. The World Wide Web's popularity is phenomenal. Websites and web pages are a way of allowing us all to share our knowledge, interests, and experiences. The benefits of usage of internet are to find things. Whether looking for a local taxi company, a mobile hairdresser, or even some income protection insurance, the internet is a vast source of knowledge. We are all guilty of running to the mercy of Google whenever we want to get our hands on some information fast. The internet allows us to have information right at our fingertips whenever we need it. Downfalls of using the internet to gain knowledge. Despite recent tabloid debates regarding privacy and what you can and cannot say on the internet, the truth still remains that the web offers a place for freedom of speech. Because of this freedom to express and share knowledge, you will find many inaccuracies when relying on the internet for information and knowledge. This can be a big problem if you are using the information you find for college coursework or even to report back to your boss. Certain sites like Wikipedia back up their information with facts and evidence. They even have the facility for reader input and modifications if a reader feels the content is inaccurate, but sites such as these are very rare, and it is up to our own research skills and common sense to distinguish between the fact and the fiction. How to use the internet correctly when looking for information. As the information on the internet has been put there by us imperfect humans, you need to ensure you only use the information you are presented with as a guide. For example, if you are looking for legal information on equity release, use various sites to gain an overall understanding of the subject. By consulting many different websites, you will be able to iron out any contradictory content and facts. We often suffer from an overdose of data. All too often the problem is that the knowledge available is insufficient or poorly specified. The challenge here is to get hold of the information that is around and turn it into knowledge by making it usable. This might involve, for instance, making tacit knowledge explicit, identifying gaps in the knowledge already held, acquiring and integrating knowledge from multiple sources, example different experts or distributed sources on the www, and acquiring knowledge from unstructured media. Applications of internet. Internet acts as a backbone for a variety of useful services. Important among them are explained here. They are email, World Wide Web, Internet telephony, Internet relay chat, Usenet newsgroups, Telnet and FTP, etc. Email. Electronic mail or email is the most well-known and widely used Internet service. It's a method of exchanging digital messages from an author to one or more recipients through a computer network. Electronic mails enable Internet users to send messages to other users regardless of the system they are using or their location in the world. Internet-based emails are also known as web mails. To send and receive emails, one must have an email address. Email systems allow to attach any format of data such as text files, image files, audio files, video files, program files, etc. along with an email. World Wide Web or WWW. World Wide Web refers to the huge collection of information stored in a number of computers around the world which are connected over Internet. Information in the World Wide Web is represented in hypertext format. A hypertext document may contain text, images, animation, sound, video, etc. embedded into a single page. It may also contain text which act as links to another document or to a different section of the same document. The hypertext documents which are part of the WWW are stored on computers known as web servers. Internet users can access the information contained in the WWW using special application softwares known as web browsers. Internet telephony. Internet telephony refers to the communication services that help the Internet users to speak to each other over Internet. Internet telephone system allows users to communicate either from computer to computer or from computer to telephone. It provides a cheap and easy to use alternative to the conventional telephone systems. Internet relay chat. Internet relay chat is a common Internet service in which participants around the world can communicate to each other by typing real-time text messages. Usually, a chat server provides many chat rooms with different chat topics or interest. A user can join a chat room of his own interest, or even he can start a private chat with a particular user. Video chatting is relatively a development which allows users to chat over Internet with the help of a web camera. Usenet newsgroups. Usenet newsgroups are worldwide text-based electronic bulletin board system in which millions of Internet users exchange information on a variety of topics. Usenet messages are stored on Usenet servers and the user has to log on to these servers to access the information. Telnet and FTP. Telnet is a protocol that allows to log on to a remote computer on the Internet. Telnet helps a local computer to establish connection to a remote host computer and access its resources. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. It's a protocol used to transfer files between computers on the Internet. It allows Internet users to transfer files from remote servers to their personal computers. Internet service providers. An Internet service provider, also known as an ISP or even as an IAP, Internet Access Provider, is a firm that offers subscribers access to the Internet. This Internet service provider maintains large runs of cabling and maintains network services in order to transfer and deliver web content to those paying the subscription fee. Typically, these Internet service providers focus on DSL, cable modem, wireless and more recently dedicated high-speed interconnects such as T1 or fiber optic service, typically abbreviated FiOS. While far less common, ISPs still offer dial-up Internet service which is gradually became phased out. All in all, there are many different types of internet service providers, and within every internet service provider, there are often varying levels of service coverage as well as personal customer service that comes attached with it. An internet service provider is a complete package of services which should be researched and considered before an internet service provider is selected. Troubleshooting an internet connection. Troubleshooting is a technical name given to identifying and correcting problems in electronic equipments. An internet connection is always suspected to problems and it needs lot of checks to correct the errors. Troubleshooting an internet connection is easy if you know the regular problems faced in the connection. Making sure you have correct IP information. Make sure you have the correct IP scheme for your network. This will include the IP address, subnet mask, default gateway and DNS servers. There are a few ways you can see what IP addresses are being assigned, but generally for Windows 9X, Windows 2000 and Windows 7, run the command ipconfig/all from the command prompt. If you have a router, common examples would be 192.168.0.x, 192.168.1.x or 10.0.0.x. Also make sure you have the correct subnet mask and default gateway IP address. With a router, this is typically the IP address of your router. Make sure you have the correct DNS servers. Possible causes for not getting an IP address assigned are defective cable, network card or port on the router. Make sure you are using all non-working components. Your router is not configured for DHCP, which would automatically be assigning IP addresses. But you need to have this working before proceeding. Basic ping text both by IP address and name. Example, ping 192.168.1.1. If you get a reply, then your connection to the router is working. If you don't get a reply, then you need to double check your network card, cable, port on the router. Try pinging an external site by IP address. Example, ping 4.2.2.1. If you get a reply, then you have a connection to the internet. If you don't get a reply, there are several things you can try. Double check that the router is connecting to the internet. Typically, you can access the router through your web browser and check its status. Take the power of your DSL cable, modem and router. Plug the modem back in a wait a minute or so. Plug the router back in and wait a minute or so. Then restart your computer. Try pinging an external site by name. Example, ping www.yahoo.com. If you get a reply, then you have a connection to the internet and DNS is working. If you don't get a reply, there are several things you can try. Double check your DNS entries. You may need to use the same DNS IP address that your ISP or router is using. On rare occasions, your ISP has problems with their DNS servers, but that is rare in comparison to misconfigured computers. If your ping tests work, but you are having problems browsing sites on the internet, if you could ping external sites by both IP address and name but cannot browse the web, likely your web browser is misconfigured. Double check that you don't have an incorrect or not needed proxy server assigned. For the Internet Explorer, Tools/Internet Options/Connections tab, LAN Settings button. Uncheck both automatically detect settings and use a proxy server for your LAN. Introduction to World Wide Web. The World Wide Web is a system that makes exchange of data on the internet easy and efficient. It consists of two basic components: the web server, a computer and software that stores and distributes data to other computers throughout the internet and requests the information. The web browser, software running on an individual's or client computer that requests information from the web server and displays it in a manner of directed in the data file itself. www was introduced in 1989. It is the most popular and promising method of accessing internet. It's a huge repository of information stored on various web servers in hypertext format. An effectively designed hypertext document can help users rapidly locate the desired type of information from the vast amount of information on the web. Hypertext documents enable this by using a series of links. A link is an item in a hypertext document which connects the document with another document that provides more detailed information. Hypertext documents on internet, which is also known as web pages, may integrate different types of information such as text, image, sound, video, etc. into a single page. Special languages known as markup languages are used to create hypertext documents. HTML is the most popular and widely used markup language. Web servers. Web servers are computers and softwares that stores and distributes data to other computers throughout the internet that request the information. Web servers are responsible for accepting HTTP requests from web clients, which are known as web browsers, and serving them HTTP responses along with optional data contents, which usually are web pages such as HTML documents and linked objects. Although web server programs differ in detail, they shall share some basic common features. HTTP. Every web server program operates by accepting HTTP requests from the client and providing an HTTP response to the client. The HTTP response usually consists of an HTML document but can also be a raw file, an image, or some other type of document. If some error is found in client request or while trying to serve it, a web server has to send an error response which may include some custom HTML or text messages to better explain the problems. Logging. Usually, web servers have also the capability of logging some detailed information about client requests and server responses to log files. This allows the webmaster to collect statistics by running log analysis on log files. Authentication. Optional authentication request of user name and password before allowing access to resources. Content compression to reduce the size of the responses. Bandwidth throttling to limit the speed of responses in order to not saturate the network and to be able to serve more clients. Web browsers. A web browser is a software application for retrieving, presenting, and traversing information resources on the World Wide Web. It acts as an interface between the user and the inner details of web. Web browsers are also known as web clients. The main functions of web browsers are contact a web server and send a request for information, receive the information and display it in a user convenient manner. Although browsers are primarily intended to use the World Wide Web, they can also be used to access information provided by web servers in private networks or files in file systems. The major web browsers are Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer, Opera, and Safari. The first web browser was invented in 1990 by Sir Tim Berners-Lee. It was called World Wide Web and was later renamed as Nexus. The primary purpose of a web browser is to bring information resources to the user, allow them to view the information, and then access other information. This process begins when the user inputs a uniform resource locator or URL. For example, www.universityofcalicut.info into the browser. On receiving the URL, the browser locates the desired web server, transfers its contents to the local computer, and display it on the local computer screen. Internet protocols. Internet protocols are a set of methods or rules that govern the data transfer between computers on internet. It is a set of technical specifications that enable computers to exchange information irrespective of their hardware and software architectures. The most commonly used Internet protocols are Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol, that is TCP/IP, File Transfer Protocol, FTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, HTTP, and Telnet. The Internet is based on TCP/IP protocols. It is a collection of protocols that govern the way data travels from one system to another across the Internet. FTP is a protocol that enables the exchange of files between computers on Internet. It works on client-server principle. HTTP is a set of rules that governs the transfer of hypertext data between two or more computers. It enables the user to receive a wide variety of resources such as text, sound, pictures, etc. Telnet is a protocol that enables a computer to log on to a remote server. It helps a local computer to establish connection to a remote host computer and access its resources. Internet Protocol Address or IP address. Internet Protocol Address or IP address is a unique number used to identify each host computers connected to the Internet. There are currently two versions of Internet Protocol IP, IPv4 and a new version called IPv6. IPv6 is an evolutionary upgrade to the Internet Protocol. IPv6 will coexist with the older IPv4 for some time. An IP version 4 address consists of 4 sections separated by dots. Its format is xxx.xxx.xxx.xxx, where each xxx is a number in between 0 to 255. IP address represents both a computer and the network to which the computer is connected. Which sections of the IP address represent the network and which section represents the machine will depend on the class of IP address assigned to the network. IP addresses are divided into 5 classes, namely class A, B, C, D and class E. Class A IP addresses have the first octet value within a range of 1 to 127, that is 1.3 octets to 127.3 octets. These IP addresses are generally assigned to major service providers. Class B IP addresses have the first octet value within a range of 128 to 191. Organizations with very large networks such as large business firms, universities, etc. are assigned with Class B IP addresses. The first 2 octets in a Class B address describe the network and the remaining 2 represent the host computer. Class C IP address have the first octet value within a range of 192 to 223. Here, the first 3 octets represents the network and the remaining 1 determines the host machine. Class C IP addresses are generally assigned to small networks. There are over 1 million Class C networks with a capacity of 254 hosts per network. Class D IP addresses will have the first octet value in between 224 to 239. These addresses are reserved for multicasting. Class E addresses with first octet value in between 240 to 247 are reserved for future use. Domain name systems. All computers on Internet are assigned with a unique identification number known as IP address. Theoretically, if we want to access a website, we have to know and type the corresponding web server's IP address in the browser. But it will be very difficult to remember the IP address as they are strings of numbers. To solve this issue, each web servers are assigned with unique names known as domain name. A domain name is simply a string which acts as a substitute to IP address. Domain names consist of a series of words separated by dots. The last part of domain name is called top-level domain and represent the type of organization holding the name. Major categories of top-level domains are COM, for commercial organizations, also used by non-commercial organizations such as individuals, government agencies, etc. .gov for government organizations and agencies. .edu for educational institutions and organizations. .org for non-commercial organizations and .mil for military networks. Even though domain name makes it easy for the internet users to identify and locate desired servers, the internet still uses the IP addresses to send and receive data. So, there must be some mechanism to translate domain names into IP addresses. A server known as Domain Name System (DNS) serves this purpose. URI and URL. Universal Resource Identifier (URI) is an identifier which locates a resource on the World Wide Web. It includes a URI scheme, authority, path, query, and fragment syntax. A URI identifies a resource either by location or a name or both. The term Uniform Resource Locator or URL refers to the subset of URIs that, in addition to identifying a resource, provides a means of locating the resource by describing its primary access mechanisms. Example, its network location. The URL defines how the resource can be obtained. We use URLs every day in the form of http://universityofcalicut.info, etc. But a URL doesn't have to be an HTTP URL. It can be ftp://universityofcalicut.info. A URI is an identifier for some resource, but a URL gives you specific information as to obtain that resource. Generally, if the URL describes both the location and name of a resource, the term to use is URI. The client-server model. The term client-server refers to a popular model for computer networking that utilizes client and server devices, each designed for specific purposes. The client-server model can be used on the internet as well as local area networks (LANs). Examples of client-server systems on the internet include web browsers and web servers, FTP clients and servers, and the DNS. The client-server model distinguishes between applications as well as devices. Network clients make requests to a server by sending messages, and servers respond to their clients by acting on each request and returning results. One server generally supports numerous clients, and multiple servers can be networked together in a pool to handle the increased processing load as the number of clients grows. A client computer and a server computer are usually two separate devices, each customized for their designed purposes. For example, a web client works best with a large screen display, while a web server does not need any display at all and can be located anywhere in the world. However, in some cases, a given device can function both as a client and a server for the same application. Likewise, a device that is a server for one application can simultaneously act as a client to other servers for different applications. Some of the most popular applications on the internet follow the client-server model, including email, FTP, and web services. Each of these clients features a user interface, either graphic or text-based, and a client application that allows the user to connect to servers. In the case of email and FTP, users enter a computer name or sometimes an IP address into the interface to set up connections to the server. Email and email protocols. Electronic mail or email is the most well-known and widely used internet service. It's a method of exchanging digital messages from an author to one or more recipients through a computer network. Basically, a protocol is a standard method used at each end of a communication channel. In order to properly transmit information, in order to deal with email, you must use a mail client to access a mail server. The mail client and mail server can exchange information with each other using a variety of protocols. Important among them are listed here. IMAP protocol. IMAP or Internet Message Access Protocol is a standard protocol for accessing email from your local server. IMAP is a client-server protocol in which email is received and held for you by your internet server. As this requires only a small data transfer, this works well even over a slow connection such as a modem. Only if you requested to read a specific email message will it be downloaded from the server. You can also create and manipulate folders or mailboxes on the server, delete messages, etc. IMAP is the newer protocol and oriented toward a connected mode of operation. The standard IMAP procedure is to leave messages on the server instead of retrieving copies, so email is only accessible when online. IMAP is more suited to a world of always-on connections, particularly the fast connections offered by broadband mechanisms. POP3 protocol. The POP or Post Office Protocol 3 provides a simple standardized way for users to access mailboxes and download messages to their computers. When using the POP protocol, all your email messages will be downloaded from the mail server to your local computer. You can choose to leave copies of your emails on the server as well. The advantage is that once your messages are downloaded, you can cut the internal connections and read your email at your leisure without incurring further communication cost. SMTP protocol. The SMTP or Simple Mail Transfer Protocol is used by the mail transfer agent or MTA to deliver emails to the recipient's mail server. The SMTP protocol can only be used to send emails, not to receive them. Depending on the network or ISP settings, you may only be able to use the SMTP protocol under certain conditions. Search engines. A search engine is a software program or script available through the internet that searches documents and files for keywords and returns the results of any files containing those keywords. Today, there are many different search engines available on the internet, each with their own abilities and features. The first search engine ever developed is considered Archie, which was used to search for FTP files, and the first text-based search engine is considered Veronica. The search results are generally presented in a line of results often referred to as search engine result pages, SERPs. The information may be present in web page, images, information and other type of files. One can search the internet for any kind of information with the help of search engine. On the internet, a search engine is a coordinated set of programs that include a spider, also called a crawler, or a bot that explores the internet by following hyperlinks starting with a core group of seed URLs covering major hubs, or a program that creates a huge index or database from the pages that have been read. A program that receives your search request, compares it to the entries in the index and returns results to you. Google is the most widely used search engine in the world, capturing about 92% of search users worldwide. Yahoo and Bing came in second at just over 2% each. DuckDuckGo has gained some popularity due to their focus on protecting users' private search data. Other popular search engines in the world are Baidu for China, Yandex in Russia, and Naver, South Korea. Different search engine approaches. Major search engines such as Google, Bing, and Yahoo index the content of a large portion of the web and allow users to query their index to find relevant pages. Specialized content search engines may be more selective about what part of the web is crawled and indexed. Country-specific search engines may prioritize in-language websites over English websites. Individual websites, especially larger corporate sites, may use a search engine to index and retrieve the content of just their own site. Some of the major search engine companies license or sell their search engines for use on individual sites. We started with the introduction to Internet, which is a network of networks. The Internet has started as ARPANET and later grown up into a global network. Then we discussed some of the important applications of internet and the internet service providers. The World Wide Web, which is a repository of web information, the different types of protocols used for internet and search engines were also discussed. Hope you enjoy this session. See you next time. Bye.